You're sitting in your car outside their place, engine off, hand on the door handle. You've been here for 7 minutes telling yourself you're going inside to end it, but your hand won't move. Or maybe you're staring at your phone right now. They read your message 3 hours ago. You can see they're active. You know you shouldn't care. You know checking again won't change anything, but you refresh anyway. You know something's wrong. You've known for months, maybe years. You lie awake at night with your chest tight, replaying conversations, analyzing their words, searching for hidden meanings in text messages that shouldn't need translation. You tell yourself you're going to leave. You make plans. You rehearse the conversation. You feel that surge of determination. This is it. This time I'm done. And then, nothing changes. The days pass. The same patterns repeat. The same pain returns. And you're still there wondering what's wrong with you, why you can't just walk away from something that's clearly destroying you. You tell yourself, if it was really that bad, I would have left by now. That is not true. That is part of the trap. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not too in love to see clearly. You're trapped in a psychological mechanism so powerful that it rewrites your brain's understanding of love itself. The problem isn't that you love them too much. The problem is that your brain was trained to recognize suffering as love, and now it can't tell the difference. And until you understand exactly what's happening inside your mind, you'll keep circling back to the same pain, the same person, the same empty promises. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why you stay and what it actually takes to leave. This isn't about them anymore. This is about what they've activated in you and why that activation feels impossible to shut off. Close your eyes for a moment and go back. You're 7 years old standing at the window, the sun's going down. They said they'd be home by 5. It's 6:30 now. You're trying not to worry, trying not to feel that tightness in your stomach that says something's wrong. When they finally walk through the door, they don't apologize. They don't even mention it. And you learn your needs are not important enough to acknowledge, or maybe you bring home a drawing, proud and excited. One day they praise it. You're so talented, so special. The next week, they barely look up. That's nice, honey. Distracted, cold, and you learn that love comes and goes without warning. These moments seem small, forgettable, but they're not. Your brain learned what love feels like before you could even speak, and if love came mixed with uncertainty, coldness, or pain, your nervous system encoded that mixture as normal, as correct, as what love is supposed to feel like. This is called attachment conditioning, and it's the foundation of why you can't leave. Fast forward to now. You send them a text. Sometimes they respond in 30 seconds with warmth and enthusiasm. Sometimes they leave you on read for 8 hours. You watch the typing bubble appear, then disappear, then appear again. You start editing your own message before you even send it, choosing words carefully, trying to predict which version of them will show up, trying not to cause a fight. When you meet someone who treats you with consistent kindness and respect, something feels off, too easy, too simple. Your brain doesn't recognize it as love because it doesn't match the template you were given. There's no challenge, no uncertainty, no desperate need to prove yourself worthy. But when you meet someone who gives you affection in unpredictable bursts, someone who makes you feel incredible one day and invisible the next, your entire system lights up. This, your brain says, this is what we've been waiting for. Not because it feels good, because it feels familiar. You're not trying to make the relationship work. You're trying to resolve something that happened decades ago, something that has nothing to do with this person at all. You're trying to prove that if you just love hard enough, sacrifice enough, change enough, the affection will finally become stable. The rejection will turn to acceptance. The uncertainty will dissolve into security. But it won't. It never will. Because you're not actually in a relationship, you're in a reenactment of your original wound. And the person you're with? They're not your partner. They're the stand-in for something you've been trying to fix your whole life. You're trying to rescue the version of you who first learned that love means suffering. The child who waited at the window. The teenager who learned that their emotions were too much. The young adult who internalized that they had to earn what should have been freely given. But you can't heal that wound by staying with someone who keeps reopening it. Let me tell you about an experiment. Scientists put rats in a box with a lever. Every time the rat pressed the lever, it got food. Simple, predictable, reliable. The rats pressed it when they were hungry and stopped when they were full. Then the scientists changed the rules. Now the lever only gave food sometimes, randomly, unpredictably, no pattern the rats could learn or anticipate. The result? The rats became obsessed. They pressed the lever compulsively, frantically, unable to stop, even when they weren't hungry, even when pressing it hurt them. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the most powerful conditioning mechanism known to psychology. Now replace the rat with you. Replace the lever with your attempts to get love from someone who only gives it in random, unpredictable doses. Here's what a cycle actually looks like. They pull away, stop texting, get cold and distant. You can feel it in your body, that drop in your stomach, the tightness in your chest, the low-level panic that something's wrong but you don't know what. You try to fix it. You ask what's wrong. They say nothing, but their tone says everything. The silence stretches, hours, then days. You're walking around with this weight, this knot of anxiety that won't release. You can't focus. You check your phone constantly. You analyze everything you said, everything you did, trying to figure out where you went wrong. And then, just when you're about to break, just when you're ready to walk away, they come back. A text. "I'm sorry, I've just been stressed. I love you so much." Or, they show up with your favorite coffee and that smile, the one that made you fall for them in the first place. Or they hold you and say exactly what you've been desperate to hear. "I don't know what I'd do without you." And your entire body floods with relief. The knot releases. The weight lifts. Your chest opens up and you can breathe again. That rush feels so good, so overwhelming, that it wipes out the entire week of pain that came before it. This is not love. This is the high of an addict finally getting their fix. You're not waiting for their love. You're waiting for your next hit of relief. And here's the most devastating part. This mechanism doesn't just keep you hooked, it trains you. At the beginning, you might have demanded respect, reciprocity, honesty. You had standards, boundaries, a clear sense of what you would and wouldn't accept. But intermittent reinforcement slowly grinds those standards down. You start celebrating the bare minimum. A text back becomes a victory. An evening without a fight feels like peace. You mistake the absence of cruelty for the presence of love. And you stop noticing that you're disappearing. That the person you used to be, the one with boundaries, with self-respect, with clarity about what you deserved, has been replaced by someone who accepts anything just to avoid losing the possibility of the next good moment. If you've ever apologized for crying after they hurt you, or rehearsed a text 10 times before sending it because you're terrified of their reaction, then subscribe, because what comes next is going to show you exactly how deep this goes. There's a term for what's happening to you: trauma bond. It's not just attachment, it's not just intermittent reinforcement, it's the specific neurological and emotional connection that forms when fear, relief, shame, and hope get mixed together in the same relationship. Trauma bonds feel more intense than healthy love. They feel more real, because your nervous system is in a constant state of activation, hypervigilant, reactive, desperate. Every moment carries weight. The highs are higher because they come after devastating lows. The relief is more powerful because the fear is more acute. This is why you can't just get over it. This is why people who've never experienced it say things like, "just leave," and have no idea what they're talking about. A trauma bond hijacks your survival instincts. Your brain starts to believe that your emotional and psychological survival depends on this person. That losing them is not just painful, it's dangerous, life-threatening, unbearable. And the cruelest part, the trauma bond makes you believe that this intensity is proof of how much you love each other, that the suffering means it's real, that the pain is the price you pay for something extraordinary, but it's not love, it's captivity dressed up as connection. Maybe you've told your friends a softer version of what's really happening. Maybe you've minimized it, laughed it off, made excuses for them, because saying it out loud would make it too real. That's not weakness, that's shame. And shame is how trauma bonds keep you silent and keep you trapped. You remember it clearly. They said something cruel. They lied about where they were. They violated a boundary you explicitly set. You know it happened. You bring it up. Last week you said, they cut you off. I never said that. Yes, you did. We were in the car. You're remembering it wrong. Why do you always twist my words? I'm not twisting anything. You're so sensitive. I was joking. I can't say anything without you turning it into a huge thing. And suddenly, you're not talking about what they did. You're defending your own sanity. This is gaslighting, and it's one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation because it doesn't just hurt you, it makes you doubt whether you're being hurt at all. The first time it happens, you're confused. The second time, you start taking notes. You screenshot texts. You replay interactions in your mind, checking for proof. By the 10th time, you don't even bring things up anymore. Because what's the point? They'll just deny it. They'll turn it around. They'll make you feel like the problem isn't what they did, it's that you noticed. Over time, the constant reality shifting erodes your ability to trust yourself. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I do misunderstand. Maybe the issue really is me. And once you doubt yourself, they own you. By the time gaslighting has done its work, you no longer trust your own mind. So you outsource reality to the person who is harming you. You are not crazy. You are not exaggerating. You are not imagining things. Your reality is real. There's another layer to this. Projection. They accuse you of exactly what they're doing. If they're lying, they accuse you of being dishonest. If they're cheating, they accuse you of being unfaithful. If they're manipulative, they tell you you're the one trying to control them. And because you're already doubting yourself, you absorb these accusations. You start examining your own behavior, looking for evidence that maybe they're right. You take on guilt that isn't yours. You apologize for their actions. You carry the emotional weight of their dysfunction and try to fix it by changing yourself. You become smaller, quieter, more careful. You stop trusting your instincts because every time you do, you're told they're wrong. And this is exactly where they want you, confused, destabilized, dependent on them to tell you what's real. But even when you see all of this clearly, when you know the relationship is toxic, when you understand the manipulation, when you can name every psychological mechanism at play, there's still one thing that stops you from leaving. The fear of being alone. Not just physically alone. The fear that no one else will ever want you. That you'll never feel this intensity again. That maybe this broken thing is the best you're going to get. Society reinforces this constantly. Being partnered is success. Being single is failure. And if this relationship has already destroyed your self-esteem, if you've been told over and over that you're too much, not enough, too sensitive, too demanding, too broken, the idea of being alone feels like confirmation of everything you've been told about yourself. But let me reframe this for you. What you're afraid of isn't loneliness. It's withdrawal. You're addicted to the hope that this person will change. You're addicted to the version of them that appeared at the beginning, the one who made you feel seen and wanted and special. You're addicted to the fantasy that if you just hold on a little longer, that version will return and stay. But that version was never real. It was bait. And you're not holding on to a person, you're holding on to a ghost. Every time they promise to change, every time they apologize and say, this time will be different, you get a hit of hope. And that hope is intoxicating. It makes you believe that all the suffering was worth it, that you're on the verge of the breakthrough you've been fighting for. But here's what you need to understand. Real change doesn't come from promises. It comes from sustained, consistent action over time. How many times have they promised? How many times have you believed? How many times has anything actually changed? If the answer is 0, then you're not waiting for change. You're waiting for a miracle. And miracles don't happen in relationships, only choices do. And they've already shown you over and over what they choose. Leaving isn't just about walking out the door. If it were that simple, you'd be gone already. To truly leave, you have to break the psychological bond. You have to reprogram the parts of your brain that have learned to associate this pain with love. You have to face the withdrawal, the emptiness, the fear, and walk through it anyway. Here's how. Cut all contact completely. No, let's stay friends. No checking their social media. No, just one last conversation to get closure. And right now that means something very specific. Don't check their Instagram stories. Don't scroll through old texts. Don't ask mutual friends how they're doing. Don't reread old messages to remember the good times. All of that, every single piece, is a micro-relapse. It reactivates the neural pathways that keep you hooked. It's like an alcoholic taking just one sip. You can't detox while you're still consuming the poison. Every single interaction, every text, every like, every glimpse of their life pulls you back into the cycle. Because your brain doesn't process it as just checking. Your brain processes it as contact, as connection, as possibility. And yes, they might reach out. They might panic when they realize they're losing control. They might say everything you've been desperate to hear. But it's not real. It's not love. It's fear of losing their source of validation, their emotional supply, their sense of power. Block them. Delete their number. Remove every trace that gives you a way back in. Because you will be tempted. And when you are, you need to have made it as difficult as possible. The first days will be brutal. Your brain will scream at you to go back. You'll only remember the good moments, the way they laughed, the way they held you, the way they made you feel when they were being kind. This is not nostalgia. This is your addiction trying to get its fix. Here's what a night of withdrawal actually looks like. You're on the bathroom floor at 2 a.m. Your phone is in your hand. You've typed out the message 3 times and deleted it 3 times. Your thumb is hovering over the unblock button. In that moment, you have a choice. You can send the message, unblock them, go back, and wake up tomorrow right back where you were, except now you've proven to yourself that you can't do this, that you're too weak, that leaving is impossible. Or you can put the phone down, walk away, sit with the pain, let it move through you without acting on it. Write down every terrible thing they did instead, every lie, every manipulation, every time they made you feel small. Keep this list on your phone. Read it whenever you feel yourself weakening. Fill the emptiness with things that remind you who you were before this relationship consumed you. Reconnect with friends you abandoned because they didn't understand. Do things you stopped doing because they didn't approve or made you feel guilty for having your own interests. Rediscover what you actually like, not what you learn to like to keep the peace. Your brain will try to trick you. It will whisper that you overreacted, that it wasn't that bad, that maybe you should just try one more time. Don't listen. That voice isn't wisdom, it's addiction. Toxic relationships don't just hurt you, they erase you. You've spent so long trying to be what they wanted, trying to fix what they said was broken in you, trying to earn love that should have been freely given. You've lost track of your own voice, your own desires, your own sense of self. Now you have to find them again. Start here. Write a letter to the version of you who stayed, not to them, to yourself. Tell that version everything you wish you'd known, all the red flags you missed, all the times you betrayed yourself to keep the peace. This is how you start separating who you were in that relationship from who you actually are. Make a list of things you were never allowed to want. Maybe it's time with friends they resented. Maybe it's emotional needs they told you were too much. Write them down, then pick one and do it. Not because it will fix everything, but because it's proof that you're reclaiming what was taken. Ask yourself, who was I before this relationship? What did I care about? What made me feel alive? What did I believe about myself before I learned to see myself through their eyes? The answers might not come immediately. You might have to try things and fail, stumble and restart. That's okay. Rebuilding yourself is not linear, but know this, you don't need another person to be whole. That idea that you're incomplete without a relationship is a lie sold to you by people who profit from your insecurity. The only love that can heal you now is the love you give yourself. The love that says, I will not accept cruelty. I will not shrink myself. I will not betray my own well-being for someone else's comfort. That love is not selfish. That love is survival. There will come a moment, maybe today, maybe weeks from now, when you have to make a decision. Stay and continue slowly disappearing, or leave and face the fear of rebuilding. Neither option feels good. Both hurt, but one leads to more of the same, and one leads to freedom. You might still hear that voice of doubt. What if I'm wrong? What if I never feel this way about anyone again? What if I'm throwing away something that could have been beautiful? But that voice is not yours. It was planted. It was reinforced every time you accepted less than you deserved, every time you questioned your own reality, every time you chose them over yourself. The truth is simpler and harder. No one is coming to save you. There is no perfect moment. There is only this choice. Either you choose yourself now, or you stay in this cycle until there's nothing left of you to save. And I promise you this, leaving will hurt. The first weeks will feel impossible. You'll question everything. You'll want to go back. But slowly, something will shift. Let me speak to you from a year ahead, from the version of you who made it through. You'll wake up one morning and realize you didn't check their social media yesterday, that you didn't think about them until right now, that the weight that lived in your chest for so long has lifted. You'll laugh with friends without that underlying current of anxiety. You'll make decisions without calculating what they'll think first. You'll meet someone who treats you with consistent kindness, and instead of feeling bored, you'll feel safe. And you'll realize that safety isn't the absence of excitement, it's the presence of trust. You'll look back at who you were in that relationship and feel grief for that person, but also fierce pride. Because they survived. They got out. They chose themselves when it felt impossible. And you'll understand, finally, that what you called love was actually a cage. And now, for the first time in longer than you can remember, you're free. Leave a comment below, not just for me, but for the person reading this who thinks they're the only one. Your words are not just a comment. They're proof to someone else, scrolling through right now, that they're not crazy and they're not alone. Tell them what you needed to hear. Tell them what finally clicked. Tell them the truth that might save them.